our current honorees of the Society of Excellence, all of our board of directors, the AADC Society of Excellent members, representatives of the New Jersey State Federation for Women's Clubs, and guests. I am Debbie Lynch, class of 79, and Vice President of Programs, and somehow got roped into being MC too. Don't know quite how that happened. But my husband is the one who has this background in public relations and emceeing and stuff. He's much better at this than I am. And I always make him do all this stuff. So I am going to congratulate our current honorees, Alice, Michele, and Harriet. If you guys could just stand for a second. And what a remarkable year we are kicking off as of this moment. This is the kickoff of our 95th anniversary of the AADC. Unbelievable what these women in 1922 started and what we have continued to bring forward. And I think we need to give ourselves an applause as alumni. So the AADC started officially on June 10th, 1922. Immediately after commencement, these women got together and said, we're starting our alumni association. It's just amazing to me. Most of us were like, let's go home to the party, and these women were getting together to start an alumni association. We have a number of members of the Society of Excellent members currently here. I'd like to introduce them and ask you to stand when I read your name. Janice Donnellan-Ballou. All right. She is a nationally recognized authority on polling and frequently serves as a guest commentator. During her career as director of Rutgers Center for Public Interest Polling at Eagleton Institute of Politics, she conducted public opinion research on public policy issues for state agencies and has been a consultant. Thank you. And has done numerous work for the AADC. Gert Clark here? She's, okay, oh, there we go. Class of 1954, she's a former educator who taught high school physics and nucleonics. I'll have to talk to you later because I have no idea what that is. Gert's enthusiasm helped make physics real and tangible to her students. She founded the New Jersey Business Industry Science Education Consortium and served as its executive director. She was also appointed a guest medical associate at Brookhaven National Laboratories. Thank you. Is Inez Durham? P. Durham here? In the back. Inez is class of 1957. As a community activist, Inez spent her career helping students maximize their potential. She volunteers her knowledge, skills, and energy to enhance and enrich the lives of children and families. She received the Central Jersey Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority's Living Legacy Award, honoring her as a civic leader. Thank you. Class of 73. She is president and CEO of 1804 Consultants, which advances educational and cultural organizations. As a campus leader at Bloomfield College for over 26 years, she was vice president for student affairs and dean of students after serving as vice president for college relations. She also served as president and CEO of the New Jersey Historical Society, preserving and documenting social, political, and cultural history, and also does a lot of work for the AADC. Thanks. Jeanne, you're up next. Retired as commissioner of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, capping a long career in public service, including serving on the cabinet of 4 governors. She's our current AADC president and is now a visiting professor at Princeton's Woodrow Wilson School, Columbia University, and Rutgers. She was inducted into the Loyal Sons and Loyal Daughters of the Rutgers Alumni Association in 2013. Thanks, Jean. Irene Goldman? Nope, okay. Wilma, I saw Wilma coming. There she is. Wilma Harris, class of 1966. Wilma was appointed in 1978 by Governor Byrne as a charter public member of the Student Assistance Board, which was responsible for all state grant programs. She served as its chairperson or vice chairperson for over 20 years. As the chief volunteer for student financial aid, countless students gained access to higher education in New Jersey. In recognition of her efforts, Wilma was granted an honorary doctorate from St. Peter's College. Thanks, Wilma. She also is very active with the AADC, and we appreciate all your work. Sharon Parmesan, I know I saw her. There she goes. Class of 1967. Sharon enjoyed a stellar 30-year career in public library leadership before becoming a Tony Award-winning Broadway producer. She is also founder of the Karma Foundation, a philanthropic family foundation created more than 20 years ago. She provided major support for the new Kathleen M. Ludwig Global Village Living Learning Center, where a lounge is named after her. And I know you're not going to mind the plugs, but I have been to a number of her shows, and if you have not seen Dear Evan Hansen, run, don't walk, to get tickets and go. It's phenomenal. Make sure you bring tissues, because it's very moving. And she just
Your check is in the mail.
Thank you, thank you. And her play Groundhog Day just opened up on Broadway also, so I have that on my list of ones to go see. Diane Mills McKay, I know, there she is, okay. Class of 1969. Diane is a longtime advocate for women's equity, having served for 15 years as the chair of the New Jersey Council for Gender Parity in Labor and Education. Her efforts address barriers related to gender and education in the workplace. She serves on the board of the National Association of Commissions for Women and is also on the AADC board. So thank you, Diane. And Victoria, class of 1942. Victoria was the director of the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism, where she inaugurated the New Jersey and You Perfect Together campaign. She's a former AADC president and established the Victoria Dombrowski Schmidt, class of 42, Workplace and Professional Development Symposium. She's also the author of 4 books and delights in sharing Victoria's secrets about how to live a good life. And I get them via emails, and they're always very interesting. Oh, and yesterday was her birthday. She's 96, and I'll tell you, I happen to know Victoria personally, and she's just absolutely amazing. I mean, that's what I aspire to at 96. And, Isabel Drezwiecki, stand. And, oh, I want you to stand. And then the rest of her committee, please also stand. Thank you. I'd like to also thank the AADC Society of Excellence Selection Committee, which is led by Kristin Long, right in front of me, and stand. And also, remain standing, please, Kristin. Thank you.
You're very bossy.
Yeah, I am. I'm the oldest of 5 girls. I had to be. And the rest of her committee, please stand also. Thank you, thank you. And now I'd like to introduce the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Club President, Jean Rivas. Jean serves as the 55th president of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs. She has previously served on the NJS FWC board in a variety of capacities and roles, including first vice president, state membership chairman, vice president, 11th Ramapo district, and woman of achievement chairman. Jeanne has been a judge for the State Spelling Bee and the Women of Achievement Awards. A 22-year member of the Riverdale Women's Club, Jeanne is currently serving her club as parliamentarian. In addition to her service with the NJSFWC, Jeanne has served on her parish school board, taught CCD, and been active with both the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. Jeanne is the recipient of the National PTA Lifetime Membership Award in recognition of her 25 years of service to children. Any spare time, do you sleep? Yeah.
Good afternoon. It is my privilege to bring greetings from the over 7,000 members of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs. What began in 1911 as a campaign to ensure that women were admitted to Rutgers College, then an all-male school, came to fruition on September 18, 1918, when the New Jersey College for Women opened its doors to 54 adventurous young women. In 1911, Mrs. John V. Cowling, New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs education chairman, advocated the speedy admission of women to Rutgers College on the grounds that as a state college, Rutgers received large sums of public money that ought to be used to educate all the youth of the state, regardless of their gender. But almost immediately, the goal shifted to the creation of a college for women. For 8 years, the women of the Federation, under the leadership of Mabel Smith Douglas, president of the College Club of New Jersey and the first dean of New Jersey College for Women, planned, agitated, lobbied as high as the White House, and raised money through a remarkable $1 subscription plan. What the women of the Federation helped to create was not a teacher's college or a vocational school, but in the words of Dean Douglas, a true college for women offering a traditional liberal arts education. The first year of life for the New Jersey College for Women was a difficult one. Without a faculty of their own, 11 of the 16 faculty members of the Rutgers staff donated their services with virtually no compensation. The students and faculty had to contend with a flu epidemic, which was no small matter in 1918. And in midwinter, the furnace broke in the building which housed the college. However, in spite of all these and other early challenges, the first class graduated in 1922, with 5 of the graduates elected to Phi Beta Kappa. The Federation has continued to support its baby. Club women raised $25,000 to build a science hall dedicated in June of 1922. To mark the 100th anniversary of the college, clubs raised $100,000 to construct a music studio. The first gift of books to the college, which formed the core of the library collection, was another Federation contribution in those early years. The Federation has contributed funds toward the building of the Mabel Smith Douglas Library and the College Center. And in 1980, over $100,000 was raised to move the Douglas Developmental Disability Center from trailers into a remodeled building. Over the years, the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs has donated more than $1 million in scholarships to Douglas College students. As we celebrate the 99th anniversary of that day in 1918, when the trustees passed a resolution to establish a college for women, we remember the efforts of 20,000 women who felt that educating young women was as important as educating young men. 20,000 women who accomplished this feat without the right to vote. Although NJSFWC no longer has a member that sits on the Rutgers Board of Trustees, and we are no longer financially able to donate buildings, our connection is still strong. Our continued joint recognition of the New Jersey Women of Achievement Awards and the many scholarships and fellowships we contribute to represent our commitment to our founding mothers to continue to recognize the academic achievements of Douglas students. The realization of Douglas College and the importance of our role in its inception is one of the proudest achievements of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs. On behalf of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs, I extend my sincere congratulations to today's honorees and happy anniversary and congratulations to our friends at the AADC. Thank you.
Now I'm going to introduce Isabel Drezwiecki, the AADC Founders Day Chair.
But yes, I do need a drink, Tina, thanks. Hi. First of all, I'd like to thank you all. I'd like to welcome you and thank you all for coming on this day. And I'd like to our Founders Day luncheon and to the induction of these three amazing women into the Associate Alumni of Douglas College Society of Excellence. I have the privilege right now of making two toasts. The first one, I would ask you all to stand and raise your glasses and join me in toasting Alice, Michele, and Harriet on their induction into the AADC Society of Excellence. We applaud you. You are truly remarkable women. Your accomplishments are amazing, and we welcome you into this prestigious society. You are all most deserving. Hear, hear.
Hear, hear.
Also, join me in toasting us, the Associate Alumni of Douglas College, on our 95th anniversary of our founding, which was in June of 1922. Since we were founded, we have accomplished as an association amazing things and provided for the women graduates of NJC, Douglas College, and Douglas Residential College. We congratulate the Sisterhood, its board of directors, its amazing executive director and her wonderful staff, and wish us all the best for another wonderful 95 years of taking care of our women graduates. To the AADC.
There's a lot of schedule here, so please, I'm going to encourage you to keep eating and don't miss a cupcake just because I'm speaking, and we'll keep going after that. So, I am Kristin, class of 78. It's my exceptional pleasure to serve as chair for the Society of Excellence Selection Committee. I'd like to take you through our selection process, introduce the committee that has performed this daunting task, and then say a few words about this year's rock star inductees. The AADC Society of Excellence, formerly known as the Douglas Society, and established in 1973, recognizes alumni who have made major contributions in their field of expertise and whose life work embodies exceptional accomplishments and leadership. Each year, the Associate Alumni of Douglas College recognizes and honors alumni who have supported the AADC, excelled in their careers, and distinguished themselves in their communities. Candidates may be nominated or self-nominate through an approval process that starts with a multi-platform nomination form that is available on the AADC website. The process to identify 3 worthy inductees every year gets increasingly challenging after that. Lots of competition. Committee members carefully and thoughtfully read through biographical statements, letters in support of nomination, and other materials. We are consistently blown away by the depth and breadth of wisdom and achievement and accomplishment of our candidate nominees, and we are fortunate to have all 3 of this year's inductees here with us today. I can't wait for you to hear all about them and to meet them. Please join me in recognizing and thanking this year's selection committee. Only Ashley Pollard is here. Julissa Jermosin, Natalie Harrington, and Carol Monroe also served. Special shout out to Valerie Z at the AADC for helping us to coordinate lots and lots of important support materials, final results, and this event. Valerie. In her citations, Jeanne Fox will share with you the exceptional life works of our newest Society of Excellent members. Today, they join 44 years of former inductees that include philanthropists and physicians and politicians, authors and activists and attorneys, executives and engineers and educators. Society of Excellence members are the very best of us, the alumni of Douglas College. Alice, Michele, and Harriet, we congratulate you, we celebrate you, and we are honored to welcome you to this highest and most prestigious society.
The AADC is you get to give out these wonderful awards when you didn't have to spend a lot of time looking through them. I did have the privilege and honor to serve as a chair of that committee once, and I'll tell you, it was the best thing I ever did at AADC, because you know how fabulous Douglas graduates are, and that they do all kinds of things from art to science and everything in between. So these 3 women who are being inducted today are really, obviously, quite outstanding people because they're strong Douglas graduates. So when I want Valerie Anderson to come up and join me. Valerie, as you know, is our excellent executive director who's been with us now for over 6 years, and she loves every minute of it. And I think we're getting pictures taken when they get accepted. So the first one is Alice Herman, class of 70. Come on up here so they can stare at you while I'm reading this. Now, I'm reading exactly the citation. I am not allowed to add on to it, but I'm going to say hi, thanks, Arthur, for everything you've done. Alice Herman, class of 70, public and not-for-profit executive and philanthropist. Alice Herman, class of 1970, is an accomplished senior executive, honing her skills over many years of work in the public and nonprofit sectors. During a 20-year career at the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, she successfully tackled increasingly challenging positions from operations manager at the Port Authority bus terminal, beautiful facility, and then at JFK International Airport, to Director of Government and Industry Affairs for Aviation, and to Corporate Secretary of the Port Authority. Her final position at the Port Authority was Director of the General Services Department. After leaving the Port Authority, Alice served as the Executive Director of Congregation Rodef Shalom, a large synagogue, school, and community service complex in New York City. She then became National Executive Director of Women's American ORT, the major fundraising organization for worldwide job skills training programs. Finally, she was called on to serve as the Executive Director of Celebrate 350, Jewish Life in America, leading a nationwide year-long celebration that culminated in a Washington, D.C. dinner with President George W. Bush as the keynote speaker. Alice served in volunteer leadership positions for many years on the board and as president of the Berkshire Hills Emmanuel Camps, a not-for-profit children's camp and senior adult vacation center in upstate New York. She now enjoys mentoring graduate students at Baruch College of the City University of New York and Douglas alumni through the AADC's Mabel Alumni Mentoring Program. Alice recently co-chaired the Campaign for Douglas Capital Campaign, in which the AADC raised nearly $42 million. She is a consistent and generous donor to the AADC Annual Appeal and regularly participates in AADC programs and events. In addition to her Bachelor's of Science degree in Sociology from Douglas College, Alice holds a master's degree in public administration from Baruch College and is an honorary member of Phi Alpha Alpha, National Honor Society for Public Affairs and Administration. So for her outstanding achievements, the Associate Alumni of Douglas College is proud to name Alice Herman, class of 70, to the AADC Society of Excellence.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank Jeanne Fox and Valerie Anderson and Kristin Long and her committee for this amazing honor. Douglas has always been very important to me, and receiving this honor means a lot, so thank you. Thinking about achievements, you just heard my bio, I'm not going to repeat it, but this occasion caused me to think of which few achievements might come to the top of my mind as the ones I'm most proud of. And I decided to share those with you. 3 came immediately to mind. One was being appointed operations manager, you had mentioned it, at the Port Authority bus terminal. It's a crazy place for anybody to work, the largest bus terminal in the country. But I was still in my 20s. I had never supervised more than 2 people. Now, over 100 people on staff. Needless to say, I was the first woman ever to have that job. And it was an amazing challenge. It was one that I was not honestly sure that I was up to, but couldn't resist. And I had a lot of bumps along the way. I learned an amazing amount. By the time I left a couple of years later to take another promotion, I felt so much more confident in myself. I felt comfortable in the position, and it really established a foundation for me to move forward. So that's number one. Number two, I was, years after I got my master's degree at Baruch, given an honorary membership in Pi Alpha Alpha, which is the Honorary Society for Public Administration, by Baruch College. And that really meant a lot to me because, again, I was in my early 20s when I did this master's, and I did it mostly because I had been appointed to a journey level position at New York State government as my first job out of college. And I didn't know what I was doing. And it was then called personnel management, now human resources. And I did what I know how to do. I went to school to figure out what I was supposed to do. But in this master's program, most of the people at the time were mid-careerists, so they were in their mid-30s or early 40s. Again, almost all of them were men. So here's this young woman sitting by herself, and I didn't know if I belonged there. I didn't know how I was going to be able to do it. But I did get my degree, and getting the affirmation of the college deciding later to give me an honorary award like that was extremely meaningful and also reaffirming of what I was capable of. And the third thing is an achievement in community service. I was asked to serve as president of an absolutely wonderful not-for-profit called Berkshire Hills Emmanuel Campgrounds and Senior Adult Vacation Center. It's a beautiful property up in Columbia County, New York, and one side of the lake is for kids and teenagers, the other side is for senior adults. It did wonderful work, and I got involved in the organization when I was very busy building up my own career. But community service has always been important to me, and I always felt that that had been part of how I used my time, no matter what else was going on. And to be asked to be president of the board of that organization, again, at a very young age, meant a lot, and it was a community coming together and saying to me, you're doing exactly the right thing, and we appreciate it. So those are three achievements that, not by coincidence, all happened early in my life, I think, because they all helped me make my next decisions. So that brings us to next decisions and experiences that I was also asked to talk about. And that sort of falls into two categories for me. One was life as a self-confident young single woman, which I was for many years. Maybe not young all the time, but single for a lot of years. I was building a career. I was solidifying lifelong friendships. I had a lot of time for travel, which I definitely used for that purpose. I was getting to know my sister Naomi in a different way, adult to adult. And I had lots of time to be a doting aunt to her terrific sons, Ben and Todd. Then came the added joy of finding my husband, Arthur Rubenstein. And he definitely deserves recognition from Douglas and AADC because he's become a major supporter. Arthur is my chief cheerleader and an eager partner in crime for new adventures. One of our most rewarding adventures is being grandparents to Emma and Jack, and they lead us in all kinds of new experiences. So that brings me to the question of what difference alma mater and Douglas and AADC have made in my life. Douglas, for me, was so very different from anything that I had experienced up to that point. It was a community filled with bright young women and professors who were actually thrilled to be teaching undergraduates. Not every college can say that. Douglas encouraged me to spread my wings. I tried classes in Russian and political science, fencing and golf. I joined student groups and tried to learn from leaders whom I admired there. Some of the experiments succeeded. Others, like modern dance and chemistry, not so much. I have to say, the latter, despite best efforts by the wonderful Dr. Schomburg, who knew how to make chemistry for non-chemistry majors really entertaining. It was AADC that brought me back. Then Executive Director Adelaide Segorin came to my office in New York City to tell me about a new program called the Extern Program. And I thought it sounded wonderful. And for years after that, no matter where my office was, no matter what I was doing, I was an extern sponsor every year and got at least as much out of the program as the students got. I am sure of that. Now then, years later, again, Executive Director, this time Rachel Ingber, came to visit me along with Interim Dean Harriet Davidson. And they were telling me about plans for an ambitious 5-year capital campaign. So Rachel cleverly introduced me shortly afterward to Joyce Kovach, Albert Schoenberg. And together, Joyce and I agreed to co-chair the campaign for Douglas. As most of you know, together as a community, we sped past the $35 million goal and raised almost $42 million for Douglas College. It was a privilege for me to participate in this accomplishment. Getting to know the professional staff of AADC under Valerie and the volunteer leadership, first under Tina Gordon and then under Jeanne Fox, has been a really highlight of that experience. So what's the common thread here that connects my professional career, my community involvement, and my personal life? Being given this award really made me think about that a little bit. And I really think it's about making choices, being open to unexpected options that appear, even when they seem daunting and maybe even unachievable. I've said yes to some and no to others. Some of my experiences have been exhilarating and others, frankly, a little nightmarish. But it's clear that new challenges energize me. And even nightmarish experiences have led to next steps that I can't imagine my life without. I have to credit my mother for instilling in my sister and me a belief that all options were on the table for us. And Douglas reinforced that message. It gave me tools for learning and problem solving and provided opportunities to test out leadership skills. Douglas has also given me a wonderful support system, friends old and new who share the Douglas experience. Some of you are here today, and I want you to know how much you mean to me. Thank you.
Michele Hoffnung, class 65, a professor of psychology emerita at Quinnipiac University, impacted lives of countless women through a distinguished 45-year career as a scholar, mentor, and feminist activist. At Quinnipiac, she advocated for the establishment of the Women's Gender Studies program and served as its director for 2 decades. She co-authored Lifespan Development, a widely published textbook that illustrates the connections and relationships among all stages and their transitions. After earning her psychology degree at Douglas College, Michele went on to pursue advanced degrees, earning a PhD from the University of Michigan in developmental psychology. During her tenure at Quinnipiac, Michele was a Mellon Scholar as the Wesley College Center for Research on Women and a visiting fellow in women's, gender, and sexual studies at Yale University at Quinnipiac. Michele was deeply involved in the civil rights, anti-war, and women's movements and began her focus on women in the late 1960s. By 1970, she became one of the first professors to offer a course on the psychology of women. This groundbreaking action garnered her the 2009 Pioneer Award from the American Psychological Association. Michele organized cooperative child care services to help women and men balance family and career in both Washington, D.C. and New Haven. Michele also established a faculty women's group on campus and developed a Celebrating Women's Creativity Conference at Quinnipiac. Michele has received numerous awards, including the 2015 American Psychological Association's Heritage Award and the 2003 Ruth Steinkraus Cohen Memorial Outstanding Women of Connecticut Award. Her work includes several scholarly books, articles, reviews, and presentations, which explore the lives, attitudes, and roles of women. Among her books are Roles Women Play, Readings Toward Women's Liberation, and What's a Mother to Do? Conversations on Work and Family. Michele has been published in journals such as Sex Roles, is that one or two things? Sex Roles, Psychology, is that one?
Two different journals.
Okay. I don't really read them, but I should. She has published in journals such as Sex Roles, Psychology of Women Quarterly, and Journal of Divorce and Remarriage. She has been affiliated with the American Psychological Association, Society for Psychology of Women, New England Psychological Association, and the Connecticut chapter of the National Organization of Women. For her outstanding achievements, the Associate Alumni of Douglas College is proud to name Michele Hoffnung, 65, to the AADC Society of Excellence.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, and to the committee, Kristin, and the whole committee for my selection. I'm delighted to be back on the Douglas campus today and deeply honored to be inducted into the AADC Society of Excellence. I owe a great deal to Douglas College. My 4 years here changed the trajectory of my life and led me to a satisfying career I had never even dreamed of. I remember sitting upstairs in Voorhees Chapel during my first convocation, watching the faculty enter below in full academic regalia. I was in awe. I never dreamed I would one day be wearing such robes. When I arrived in 1961, I expected to follow my mother's footsteps and become wife, mother, and public school teacher. My mother was not only a sterling role model, she was also my most ardent supporter. I was fortunate to come of age at a time when women's workplace opportunities were expanding, and to attend a women's college that promoted challenging the expected and entertaining new possibilities. I did become wife, mother, and teacher, but because of the intellectual and social opportunities I found at Douglas, I also became scholar, mentor, and feminist activist. The early 1960s was a glorious time to be a psychology major at Douglas. Davidson Hall, the new building for the department, was under construction when I arrived. During my first year, I took intro psych with dynamic Professor Robert Terwilliger. When he noticed my enthusiasm, he invited me to do an independent research project. This was before the new building was completed. I ran my first psychology experiment in a dark, dingy, dusty basement of a very old building. I do not recall its name. The next year, I served as his paid research assistant in the sparkling, clean laboratory space of the new building. He left Douglas at the end of that year. I continued as a research assistant in the department until graduation. During my undergraduate years, I got extensive hands-on research experience. Because that enriched my life so much, as a professor, I have made every effort to provide research experience for my students, both by engaging them in my projects and mentoring their own. I credit the Douglas Psychology Department and Professor Jean Burton in particular. How many of you remember her? For preparing me well and encouraging me to apply to graduate school. Professor Burton inspired me to serve as a mentor to women students and faculty during my many years as professor. I thought of her when accepting the Heritage Award from the American Psychological Association in recognition for my teaching and mentoring. From Douglas, I went to the University of Michigan. As a graduate student, I felt like I had entered a new and wonderful world of possibilities. At first, I focused on experimental psychology. Then I drifted in the direction of developmental psychology. I was deeply involved in the social movements of the time, civil rights, anti-war, and women's liberation. These have had profound impact on my research, as have my experiences as a woman balancing career and family. The personal is political was a slogan of the women's movement, and the personal has been inspiration for my intellectual work. Much of my scholarship has focused on contemporary women's career and family choices. When I had young children, I was an organizer of cooperative daycare in Washington, D.C., and then in New Haven, Connecticut. When my children were out of daycare, I began writing about the impact of motherhood on women's lives. When my daughter took her husband's name in marriage, I began research on marital name change. Why do some feminist women maintain their birth names while others relinquish theirs? Now that I am a grandmother, I am working with a colleague on a study of contemporary grandparenting. My favorite course to teach is the psychology of women. As was just said, I was one of the first in the country to teach it in 1970 at Quinnipiac University, where I have spent most of my career. I mobilized forces to establish the Women's Studies program and was its first director for 20 years. My husband, John Mack Farragher, emeritus professor of history at Yale University, and I raised 3 children together. They are marvelous people, married to marvelous people. Each has 2 children, our 6 delightful grandchildren. Indeed, I have achieved what I hoped for when I first headed to New Brunswick from Hackensack, New Jersey. But because of my experiences here at Douglas, I have been able to achieve much more. My lifespan developmental textbook was just mentioned. It's been published in the United States and Australia, which gives me a broad audience for my feminist perspective. I never dreamed as a girl that I would have my written words read by so many. My years at Douglas not only gave me the tools, they gave me the inspiration. For my entire career, I have been active in promoting the spirit of Douglas College. My teaching, mentoring, research, and writing have all promoted the education and empowerment of women, as well as men. I am very proud to have my contributions recognized by AADC. Thank you very much.
The AADC Society of Excellence is Harriet R. MacLean, right? MacLean or MacLean? MacLean, class of 76, so she's just a youngster. Harriet R. MacLean, 76, educator, published author, community service. Harriet R. MacLean, class of 1976, has developed a career in public education over the last 30 years, serving diverse student populations as both a site and a district administrator, in positions across 3 California school districts. She served as principal in 3 schools and rose to assistant superintendent. Each school led by Harriet experienced a transformation that resulted in vastly improved outcomes for students, families, and the community, including the most vulnerable of demographic and socioeconomic groups. She has demonstrated a commitment to taking risks, breaking down institutional barriers, and providing high-quality education for all students. Following receiving her Bachelor of Arts in French and Russian at Douglas College, Harriet earned her Doctor of Education degree from St. Mary's College of California, and she holds 2 master's degrees in French Literature and Educational Administration from the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana and at San Francisco State University, respectively. During 6 years of site leadership at Davidson Middle School in San Rafael, California, Harriet shaped the school's academic and cultural growth. Davidson's Academic Performance Index rose dramatically, and suspensions dropped markedly under her leadership. The Davidson's Positive Climate and Cultural Program, initiated by Harriet, won a California School Boards Association Golden Bell Award in 2011. She rose to Assistant Superintendent Educational Services. She led the move to full implementation of the Common Core State Standards K through 12 in San Rafael City Schools. And in her current position as Administrator on Special Assignment, Equity, Community Schools, Restorative Practices, Harriet has been leading a citywide community schools initiative in San Rafael. Harriet is a member of the National Association of Elementary School Principals, the American Association of School Administrators, and the San Rafael chapter of Phi Delta Kappa. Among her awards she has received the 2010 Outstanding Middle School Administrator from the Marin County School Administrators Association, the 2013 Women in School Leadership Award from the American Association of School Administrators, and the 2013 National Distinguished Principal California finalist. There are a few principals out there too, I think. Harriet is also active in her community via the Bay Area Community Schools Network Advisory Council, the Rotary Club of San Rafael Harbor, and Spectrum LGBT Center for Marin Advisory Council. So for her outstanding achievements, the Associate Alumni of Douglas College is proud to name Harriet R. MacLean, 76, to the AADC Society of Excellence.
I too want to thank Jeanne Fox and Valerie Anderson right off the bat, and Valerie Z, and everyone else who had so much to do with helping me get here from California, first of all. I hadn't been on the Douglas campus for about 35 years, and so when we got here this morning, the person who nominated me, she can't come because she's ill. She and another friend told me that my mission here was to see if me and Mrs. Jones was still on the jukebox. So we came in that back door over there by parking, and I looked in the corner where I know the jukebox should be, no jukebox. So I went and found in the cafeteria area a young woman and a gentleman probably in his 50s working, employees, and I said, "Is there still a jukebox in this space?" And the young woman, student I'm sure, said, "Jukebox, that's a machine that plays music, right?" No, just saying. Okay? All right. So, as I look back over the years and try to identify exactly what I want to say about Douglas and here today, I came up with a few key words, and they are rigor, excellence, setting or context, and home. And so as you heard, the Student Center was my home away from home because I was a commuter. I grew up in Sayreville. And I grew up being told that I was going to go to Douglas. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a teacher. My mother told me I was going to Douglas. And, that's where I wound up, at Douglas. So, and I was really happy to be here. Neither of my parents went to college, so my mother was really invested in me, not only attending, but finishing. And so was I. I always loved school, and the liberal arts education that I got at Douglas really just fulfilled me. And I was able to double major in French and Russian and get a teaching credential. So let's talk about rigor, first of all. Double major and a teaching credential in 4 years, did my student teaching down the road here in East Brunswick. It set me on the road. I've always loved learning. I've always loved school. My big sister, I made her teach me to read before I went to kindergarten, so then I was bored in kindergarten because they teach you to read, at least back then. Now they teach you in preschool. So I went on and did all those degrees you heard about, but really the accomplishment for me was learning about who I was, how I learn best, what my interests are, and expanding on those. And so when you come to number 2, excellence, about Douglas, I sang in the Voorhees Chapel Choir back when Dr. Kavam was, I saw that, oh my God, over there. Yeah. Do you remember? And I mean, he made us memorize the music and the words, and there was this, we did some marvelous concerts, really excellent music. And to me, that's where I met some of my best friends from Douglas, was in the choir. And there was this one weekend that is just one of my favorite memories. I always had to work because I was a commuter and I paid for my own education. It was a lot less expensive back then. But, you know, I had part-time jobs during the school year, a couple of full-time jobs in the summer. But I was able to carve out this weekend when we went, the whole choir, by bus, up to MIT to join their men's chorus and sing a concert. I don't remember what we sang, but I remember the music was really big, and it had a green cover, you know those green music covers? And that was just so much fun, and the concert was so incredible, and having the 4 voices, you know, so we all worked it up, and then when we got together, we rehearsed and we performed, and then we came home. Number 3, so we've done rigor, excellence, setting. And I've just always been, I only learned this later in life, but I'm all about context. When you ask me a question, you're going to hear every last background piece of information before I get to the answer of your question. It drives some people crazy. But and then when people give me an answer to one of my questions, I interrogate them. I've been told, stop interrogating me, because I want all the background information, right? So I say that in prefacing to where Douglas is in the city, in New Brunswick, where you have this phenomenal setting, and it's so real life, and it was really real back in the 70s, okay? I just love that about it, because I always had one foot planted firmly in academia and one foot in just the local streets and places of business and schools and community organizations. So that was important. And what it brought out for me was, it wasn't until I was doing a doctorate that my advisor, who was a woman, and I've had wonderful advisors through my whole life, she said, no, it was when I was doing my second master's, she said, you're a practice looking for a theory. That's what she said. You need to do a doctorate, right? You need to know what theory undergirds the practice that you are doing intuitively, because I was leading in schools by intuition, and it just happened to be that my intuition was right. So I had gotten good results, but it really does help to know the theory that supports what you're doing, that grounds your practice. I found that out by doing a doctorate. And then that was right before I got Davidson Middle School, which was the job of my life. Principal is the job of my life. Davidson was the school of my life. And because I had done that doctorate and I had that theoretical knowledge, I could, instead of just making people do what I told them to do, I could actually explain to them why it was the right thing to do, talking about my faculty, you know. I could give them an article, show them a little clip of a video, and say, this is why we're doing restorative practices, this is why we're So the doctorate made a huge difference, and I really did it not in addition to get theory to ground my practice. I did it just to be forced to do research and write, because I wasn't going to do it if someone didn't force me, and I wanted to do it, and it made me do that. So I have this great doctorate, great dissertation. All right, so that brings me back to home, and this building is my home, away from home. For 4 years, I met my best friends, Gloria, who nominated me, Cindy, who's actually, ironically, living in Florida, but visiting in California this weekend, so I missed her because I wound up coming here. But I've already sent them pictures and everything. I don't know what to say about that. I already told you about me and Mrs. Jones, so I'll just close with the future, because I forgot all about having to say something about that. But every fall, for years now, when I read my local paper back in California, there's a big post office in Oakland, California, that advertises for volunteers. And I've been thinking through this last year, because I'm retiring on July 1st, and it's been a joy to think about what am I going to do next, right, in retirement. And I think volunteering in some ways is a good thing. But the first thing I want to do is they advertise every year for volunteers to reply. They get about 50,000 or more letters to Santa, and they just sit there. And they need people to write back to these little babies that write to Santa every fall. So this fall, when they advertise for people to write back to Santa, I will have the time to actually respond. And that's the first thing I'm going to do after we get back from a long vacation, my husband and I, this summer. And so the bottom line is my time at Douglas really set me up the road to realizing my dreams. And I want to thank Douglas College and the AADC for this recognition, and it's just a joy to come home. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to once again congratulate these wonderful newest members of the Society of Excellence. It's absolutely incredible when we hear their career paths, just so inspiring. The next person I'm going to introduce is Linda Caldwell Epps, class of 73, to give some remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. And congratulations again to the honorees. I remember the wonderful feeling of being recognized by extraordinarily group of women at Douglas. And I know the feeling that you have now. The high that you are experiencing will last for years to come and will spur you on with new energy and pride to continue to be of service. You see what happened to me. I got the award and I haven't been able to sit still since. You're lucky if you live out of the area, they can't capture you like they did me. I logged more miles on my car coming back and forth to New Brunswick than I can tell you. Putting down for my taxes was good though. So, but you were all phenomenal women. We are all very proud of you. And what else can I say? But thank you for being wonderful women and wonderful role models for us all. Congratulations to the AADC for 95 years of service. Mabel Smith Douglas would be very proud of all of you that are assembled. She truly would be. And thank you to Mabel. And an extraordinarily big thank you to the New Jersey Federation of Women's Clubs for your critical role in the creation of Alma Mater and your continued association with the AADC. We're very happy. You've provided thousands with tools, including yours truly, that really make a difference in the world, and we're very grateful for that. So I wasn't supposed to say all this, but you put a mic in front of some people, they don't know when to sit down. So, as the AADC enters into the momentous year of celebration, our intention is to keep uppermost in our minds and hearts those alumni and friends who over the years have contributed to the AADC to lift up the status of women through education. So we are planning a year-long series of commemorative signature events like the Victoria Dabrowski-Schmidt Class of 42 Workshop, Workplace and Professional Development Symposium. We just sang happy birthday. Where is she? Oh, well, she's not here, well, I'll say it anyway. Symposium to be held on September 16th. And the Lamadou Lecture in October, and the Segorian Lecture in March. These events will serve as a tribute to the past and honor those who work among us to retain the strides we have made and to plan for future years. This year-long series of events will culminate with an anniversary weekend on Thursday, April 19th through Sunday, April 22nd, 1918, where we will combine our annual alumni reunion weekend and Founders Day celebrations that year by hosting a slate of exciting alumni programs ranging from Women's Leadership Conference to an alumni Scarlet Tie Gala. In addition to our traditional reunion programs like the Vanguard Luncheon, which will still be, and the Convocation and Milestone Classes Parade, I'm one of the milestone classes, we'll have all of that during those 4 days during that weekend. So please pay close attention to your email for announcements of opportunities to celebrate this important anniversary year. We need your help in organizing and in planning. We have a good, strong core of volunteers, but we need more. So I'm honored to chair this event and very dedicated, I told you about the mileage on my car, dedicated to planning with a very structured subcommittees that are already at work. And again, we need your support. So those who are serving as chairs of subcommittees, and please stand when I call your name, Elena Anastasio Rossi, class of 78. You're supposed to stand, okay, and remain standing. She's chair for the the anniversary weekend events. And Lena, who I believe is also here. Lena, okay, who's passes. Class of 2000, who is chair for marketing and promotion. And I believe Sharon is also here. Sharon was here. Oh, well, Sharon, you have to remember who was sitting in that seat. Some of you might have photographic memories and you'll remember who she was. Class of 79 is chair of AAD signature events. And Carol Hamlin, okay, class of 61, I'm sorry, serves as chair of alumni outreach. We also have plans to celebrate our anniversary by sharing those photos and ephemera that are so important to us all, and a call will go out to you soon about that. You can sit down now. Thank you. I'm sorry, Heather. Hi, Heather. Heather serves, what are you, class of 2012? Okay, class of 2012, Heather Tedesco, who in addition to being my right arm is a secretary, scribe for our group, keeps us all together, reminds us of what we said from one meeting to the next. So thank you, Heather. I'd like to hopefully I've convinced you that we need you and that we are having fun planning this and that you will join us. Just see me or any one of those people that I asked to stand up before we leave out of here today. I'd like to leave you with a quote by a young woman of our time. She is one of my sheroes and exemplifies the voice of, I think, all of the women in this room. I raise up my voice, not so I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot succeed when half of us are held back. Any guesses as to who might have said that? Young woman still in her teens. Malala. Exactly. Malala, okay? So let us make this anniversary year one that demonstrates the dedication to true freedom for all women. Thank you.
Congratulations once again to our newest members of the Society of Excellence, Alice, Michele, and Harriet. Another round of applause for them. Congratulations to the AADC on their 95th anniversary. What an accomplishment. Want to remind everyone, reunion weekend is coming up, the first weekend in June. No, we're good. Yeah. What is it, June 2nd to the 5th?
You don't even know. Second and third.
Second and third. Yeah. And I know what it's like when I give you the microphone. Second or third. So please come out and join us, because it's such a fun weekend. It really is. Even if it's not your milestone class, we have so much going on that weekend. If you were up at Alumni Council, I sort of talked about some of the events that are going on. Convocation in the morning, not convocation, no. Yeah, convocation in the morning. We have speakers on hoarding and on Alzheimer's, our author's corner. So we've got lots of stuff, exciting stuff going on. I'm going to ask Denise Busby to come up here and join us. She's going to lead us in alma mater. After that, the program will be concluded. However, I have been asked to let everyone know we have a large group of cupcakes to the left in the shape of a 95, and we would like people to feel free to take them, have a second cupcake, bring them home for after dinner tonight. So we would like to see that empty by the end of the event. So thank you. Denise, all yours.
22, when the NJC alma mater sounded a little bit like this. And if you're familiar with the tune, please join along. When the sun first woke the ripples in our gently winding stream, Raritan in drowsy murmurs whispered its prophetic dream, till the songsters caught the secret, bore it off on joyful wing, carol it among the treetops, till all nature sing to sing. Hail the dawn of some fair future, when New Jersey lends her name to crown the glory of a college destined for enduring fame. Hail the day when loyal daughters, bound by ties of fealty, sing their song of true devotion. Alma mater, NJC. Now reverently, our Douglas College alma mater. Hear our voices. Help me, sorry. I'm a soprano and I'm suffering. Hear our voices, alma mater, Douglas College, hail to thee. Hearts in song now join together in a pledge of fealty. Though our future paths may sever, thoughts of golden college days in our heart will live forever as a constant song